It's Math with Matthew. So go kick off your shoes. Increase your worldview. It's Math with Matthew.
On this Best Of episode, we review some of our favorite guests and videos from the past season. Let's now welcome your host, Chelmsford's Mathematics Department's coordinator, Dr. Matthew B.
X equals 3.
Welcome to the Best of Math with Matthew, Season 1 from the 2012-13 academic year. As we prepare for Season 2 of Math with Matthew, we're going to take a look back at all the great things we did on the first season at the high school, middle school, and elementary show. Let's begin first by going back and revisiting our interview with Mr. Andrew Pasquale, our high school mathematics teacher for the last 40 years, and hear about all the things he's doing within his AP Calculus classes and his transition from algebra to geometry classes. Welcome back. We are now joined by Mr. Andrew Pasquale for our Teacher Spotlight segment. Mr. Pasquale is in his 40th year in the mathematics department at Chelmsford High School and his 42nd year overall within education. He's a Boston College graduate for both his undergraduate work in mathematics and philosophy and his master's work in the art of teaching mathematics. Mr. Pasquale is our AP Calculus teacher and also was a member of the consortium that developed the calculus textbook that we use within our department. Mr. Pasquale, welcome.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. What made you decide to devote your life to teaching children mathematics?
Well, the short answer to that question is that I grew up thoroughly expecting to be the third generation in my family's construction business. But when I had a conversation between my junior year and senior year in college with my father about joining him, he was, let's say, emphatically discouraging. He said that he went to work every day disliking what he did, and his advice to me was to pick something as a career that I liked. I've always liked mathematics. I always liked school. 2 + 2 = 4. So here I am.
Excellent. So in observing your teaching, I've noticed that you do so much more than just teaching mathematics. Can you tell us why it's important the way you start your class every day?
Sure. I want the experience to be a learning experience, and it doesn't have to be just learning math. It's be learning about life in other ways. So I start the class with like an icebreaker kind of thing. Today's items on the sideboard, for example, were tiramisu, the word intrepid, and a fragment of dialogue from last night's TV show called Elementary. And so that's, every day it's different, and the kids like it.
And so what do you do with those words as you begin your class?
Well, I'll toss them out to the class and see if anybody knows about them, and if they don't, I'll explain why I put them up there.
Excellent. So you teach both the students who love the mathematics as well as those who struggle. How are you able to differentiate your instruction to meet the learning styles of all these different types of students?
Well, you're right. I have very highly motivated and independent and creative thinkers and kids who struggle a little bit with the concepts. But surprisingly, some of the same techniques that work with the bright kids work with every kid. It's like learning how to explain things from different points of view, being patient, encouraging the students to ask questions, and the way you set up the transition algebra class, the numbers are small, so I get a chance to interact more on a one-to-one basis with the kids as opposed to the calculus classes, which are rather large.
Excellent. So now what we're going to do is we're going to learn from Mr. Pasquale's students what makes him really such a special teacher.
10 to the x, e to the x. You need to use a different rule. And so we'll discover those rules in the second section of chapter 3.
Mr. Pasquale can just get so much out of a single problem. We'll spend 10 to 15 minutes on it, but we'll get so much out of it, so many different concepts, and the whole class leaves it feeling very well understood.
Mr. Pasquale really explains every single problem in different ways, verbally, geometrically, graphically, algebraically, and he makes sure each and every student understands what he's doing before moving on to the next subject.
Factor of x plus 8 times x minus 4.
So what I really like about Mr. Pasquale's class is the holistic learning experience that you get in the fact that he doesn't just teach math, but he also teaches how you can apply it to different subjects. For example, physics, how you can use derivatives, integrals, and apply it later on in life. And the fact that he teaches you how math is applied in topics that you really wouldn't think have math involved in them.
Mr. Pasquale begins every class with 3 different aspects from food, culture, geography, and he has these Friday quizzes in which he draws all sorts of cultural things in together. So you really just get so much more than just math out of this class. You learn about all sorts of different worldly aspects.
So then as we approach -3, you're going to have an x minus 3 in the denominator.
Welcome back. Mr. Pasquale, it's clear from that video that your students and your colleagues hold you in a very high regard. Tell me, what are the attributes that make a good teacher?
Well, a teacher has to know his or her subject. If you don't know your subject, you can't communicate it to anybody. You have to be enthusiastic about your subject. Otherwise, how can you expect enthusiasm from your students? You have to have good communication skills, and above all, you have to care about your students as well.
Excellent. So what is your favorite thing about being a teacher?
Beyond the fact that we have great kids at Chelmsford High School, I like the job, the profession, because it taxes every portion of you as a human being. It taxes your intellect, your affect, and it's physically demanding as well, although many people wouldn't think of teaching as being a physical job. You're on your feet all day long, so you're tired at the end of the day in every possible way that it is to be tired. It's a great job.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us your wisdom of teaching. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that look into Mr. Andrew Pasquale's classroom. I'm joined now by Dr. Linda Hirsch, the ELA Department Coordinator and host of Literacy with Linda. Linda and I like to have some fun together, and also we like to have some fun on the Math with Matthew show. Let's look back into our middle school show and some of the ideas that I have to get students out of their math homework. These are some math-related excuses that you can use for not turning in your homework. The first is that you accidentally divided by 0 and your paper immediately shredded.
2 plus 2 equals 7 divided by 0. Oh wait, I can divide by 0.
Next is that you had too much pie and you got sick.
And the area of the circle is pi r squared. Boy, am I hungry.
And finally, you have a solar calculator, but it was cloudy outside. I hope you enjoyed some of the humor within the middle school for getting out of your math homework. Let's stay with the middle school right now and take a look and listen to learn about Study Island with Miss Boucher and 2 of her students. We're now going to be joined by Ms. Boucher to learn about Study Island in Chelmsford. Miss Boucher is in her 5th year as a mathematics teacher for the Chelmsford Public Schools. She graduated from Westfield State University with a Bachelor of Arts in Mathematics. She recently got her master's degree in education. A former figure skating star, Miss Boucher grew up attending the Chelmsford Public Schools and now is currently teaching 7th grade math at McCarthy Middle School. Welcome to the show, Danielle.
Hi.
Hi, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We saw in the introduction video some information about Study Island in general, but can you tell us about how it's impacting your class?
Yep, Study Island is a great instructional tool that's new to me this year. I've been trying to bring my students down to the computer lab once a month to have them work on assignments from Study Island. I've also been assigning homework with Study Island questions. It's a great resource for me as a teacher because all the students are going to be assessed on the standards that are being addressed on Study Island. So it helps me see where my students are at and what I need to do to help improve their grades if they're struggling on a specific standard.
Now, I know you hold individual conferences with your students based on the data you get from Study Island. Can you tell us a little bit about why you do that?
Yes, I did this with a few of my classes. During December, my students took a winter benchmark assessment like all the other 7th grade students did, and I believe all the middle school students as well. The students, when they finished, they could see their score, but they weren't able to see what questions they got wrong. So I had a few students ask me, can I see what questions I got wrong? And I was like, oh, you can come after class and I'll go over it with you. But before you knew it, I had about 20 students asking me. So I booked the computer lab the week before vacation, and with a few of my students, I brought them down. I had them work on an assignment, and as they were working on it, I had students come up individually, and I could go over the complete test that they took with them. And it was really great because I could see what questions they got wrong, which helps me out as a teacher, but also I could see if they just made a silly mistake. They're like, oh no, like it was -3, not +3, so it was just a simple error. I think they found it beneficial, and I did as well too. So.
And I think that's a great strategy to do. That's great. So you took a course this summer on the Universal Design for Learning, which is a big part of the Chelmsford Public Schools. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I signed up for this course to help improve my teaching. UDL is all about teaching so that all your students can learn. I learned new teaching strategies and different techniques to incorporate in my classroom, so I've been trying to do that each week. I've been doing it by incorporating technology. I've been making lessons with PowerPoints. I've been trying to play some math songs, making choice assignments. I've been trying to rewrite my tests and quizzes, making them more UDL friendly, which makes more space. Sometimes I give choices on my tests and quizzes. And I find it, as a teacher, I enjoy teaching more when I have a UDL lesson coming up, and I also think my students enjoy coming to math more too. So I hope that in the end that I am helping meeting the needs of all my students.
Now, how does this Universal Design for Learning correlate with Study Island?
Yeah, Study Island is another way to engage my students. It's using technology, students are engaged, so it's just another way to help meet the needs of my students.
Thank you. In a minute, we're going to be joined by 2 of Ms. Boucher's students, but right now they're doing their math homework. Let's take a look in and seeing them doing their math homework.
So boring doing our math homework this way. There has to be a better way.
Oh, I know. I mean, we have to do all these problems, and most of our worksheets are double-sided. It's really, really frustrating.
Yeah, and it's like 30 problems a night. It takes us so long.
What if we were able to do it on a beach, a nice warm beach where it was warm? Oh, yeah, on a nice warm island.
That'd be nice. And what if we could do it on computers, too?
And have the ability to play games.
Now, this is the way to be doing math work.
I know, right? Math on the iPad with Study Island, there's no way you can go wrong there.
This program is way easier than doing paperwork.
Oh, definitely. Whoa! Guess what? I just earned my 2nd blue ribbon in a row.
Really? I just got the new high score in the dirt bike game.
Now that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is the life.
I don't know. What better way to be learning math than to be studying on an island?
Welcome back. We are now joined by those 2 math students of Ms. Boucher's, Lindsay Smith and Brian Tong. Welcome to the show. How you doing? Hi, Brian.
Hey.
I'm so sorry to have taken you guys away from your math homework on the island, but we do need to learn a little bit about Study Island from a student's perspective, so thank you guys for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
So can you tell me a little bit about Study Island and how it is used in your math class this year?
Yeah, well, we do a warm-up every time we go to math class, and she sometimes chooses like 2 problems from the Study Island's questions that we've done, and we have to figure those out for the warm-up.
And how else was it used, Brian?
Well, over the summer, we had Study Island as our summer math, and we used those, and we had different sections that we had to do over the course of the summer.
So what are the benefits, from your perspective as students, of using Study Island? Lindsay?
Well, it makes the class more fun and entertaining because it's way better than paperwork because you can use technology and it's way easier too.
Great. And what about you, Brian?
I feel it's a good reinforcement tool to keep going over the stuff that we learn in class, but have it electronically so that it's more fun and kids have more fun using Study Island than doing paperwork.
Great. Thank you all for taking the time on the show and sharing your use of Study Island. Chelmsford High School, this is Matthew speaking. Oh, just 1 second, please. I hope you enjoyed that look into Study Island with Miss Boucher and her students. Let's stick with the middle school for a few minutes and revisit our segment with Miss Donna Foley, our middle school mathematics coach.
It's
time to learn a little bit about the math contest that we have at the middle school, as well as the leveling process. We are going to be joined by Mrs. Donna Foley, our mathematics coach. Mrs. Foley has worked for the Chelmsford Public Schools for 39 years. She is a Lowell State and UMass Lowell graduate who has taught 7th to 12th grade in Chelmsford and at UMass Lowell. She most recently retired as the math coordinator for Chelmsford in June 2010 and is presently working as the grades 5 through 8 math coach. Donna was recently inducted into the Chelmsford Alumni Hall of Fame. Welcome to the show, Donna Foley.
Hi,
thanks so much for coming on.
Great to be here.
So Donna, can you start by telling us a little bit about the math contest that we run at the middle school level?
Sure, I'd be happy to. All of the students participate in the Continental Math League and also the New England Math League. The Continental Math League is run, students take 6 questions, 5 months, and they're very challenging questions. They have 30 minutes to complete those. And then the New England Math League is only given once a year. It's given generally the end of February, the beginning of March for grades 6 through 8, and in April for the 5th grade. And those are multiple choice questions. Both of these provide a lot of opportunities. The Continental Math in the fact that the questions give us great teaching moments. Because they're out of the curriculum, it forces the students to apply their knowledge, and it gives the teachers an opportunity to go over non-routine questions with them. The multiple choice questions are great because at that point in time we don't have a lot of opportunities to practice those. Students are allowed to use a calculator on those, but we find that the students can actually solve the problems a lot simpler without the calculator.
Thank you. I know
You're
a lot of
welcome.
people have been asking about those contests that we run. That was a great explanation. So the math leveling begins at grade 7. Could you explain for us the process that we use to place students in the appropriate level beginning in 7th grade?
Be happy to. In 7th grade, all of the 7th grade teachers have spreadsheets on their students. They have a lot of data on their students. They have the students' previous MCAS scores all the way through. They have their grades for the term. They have their Continental Math. They have the New England Math League scores. They have how they rate them for homework, also attitude, and enthusiasm for mathematics. And then they work very hard to try to predict where the students will be successful. In 7th grade, we actually have 4 levels of math. We have an honors algebra class where students skip a full year of mathematics, very challenging. We have an accelerated pre-algebra class. We have an average class for students, and we also have a class that we offer that has support for students. The students might be below grade level or struggle. The teachers try to recommend a class that's very challenging for the student but not overwhelming, because math frustration can lead to problems and students turn off.
Now, if a student is not chosen for the honors program beginning in 7th grade, does that exclude them from ever being in the honors program?
No, it doesn't. We actually retest for honors at the end of the 8th grade too, in the spring of the 8th grade. So students, and even if students don't go into the honors program starting in the 9th grade at the high school, there are opportunities. We don't have tracks. What we have are levels of math, and students can move from one level to another, sometimes during the year and certainly from year to year.
And now tell us about your role transitioning from being the math coordinator to the middle school math coach. How's that going?
It's going great. I love the job. I have such talented teachers that I get to work with. The middle school curriculum, as you know, is changing with the Common Core. So my role now as a math coach is to support them. One of the recent things, we had benchmark testing that we did. And as we have Math with Matthew, we did data with Donna. So what we did was we looked at all of the data for the benchmark testing. And at that point in time, we made some decisions about students that might be struggling with certain concepts. But it's also nice to get to research things for teachers or help out with students in classes as well.
Thank you. This is great. Very informative.
Let me show you how to expand a plus b to the 10th. Like so.
Here we are in the classroom of Mr. Zach McIntyre, high school mathematics teacher and author of the Math with Matthew theme song. He was on our elementary show where we had a little fun together, both with the students of South Row and also doing a little bit of singing. Let's take a look back at Mr. McIntyre on the TV show. Well, please stay with us for a little bit as I want to discuss how math is involved in all of our lives. Every day we do math and we don't even know it. We simply could not function without it. At a young age, we should have children singing about numbers. Most people do not know that the alphabet song was originally the number song. 3. Now, the reason why most people don't know that the alphabet song was originally the number song is because I made that up. But every subject in school has some aspect of math in it. For example, the only true international language is math.
Jar, born, born, arba, four.
As many people know, there is a strong relationship between math and music, but there's also a lot of math in art as well. Let's visit an art class and see their projects related to a mathematical concept.
Samantha, what are you doing for your art math project today?
I'm using dogs to show addition.
Dogs to show addition. Very good job. And Ryan, what are you doing for your math art project today?
I'm drawing circles to draw circumference.
Oh, he's using circles to draw circumference. Good job. Now, Shaylee, why does your paper have nothing on it?
I'm doing my work. I'm showing the identity property as 0.
What a good job you're doing, you guys.
Thank you to my friends at South Row for those great videos showing how math is integrated in all subject areas. So, in conclusion, it is clear that throughout all of school and life, all you need is math. So in conclusion, all you need is math. 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 Math. Math is all you need. All you need is math. Everybody now. All you need is math. Sing along at home. All you need is math. Math. Math is all you need. 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 A bit of chemistry. A bit of chemistry. A touch of history. A touch of history. Math's the best you see. Here we are at Chelmsford High School's Learning Commons, a location that's filled with technology. Our elementary math program, Math Expressions, also has a big technology component. Let's take a look back at our interview with Ms. Masidi and Ms. Buckley and learn about that program. Let's get started learning about our elementary mathematics curriculum, Math Expressions, with two of our elementary teachers, Sarah Buckley and Donna Masidi. How you doing?
Thanks, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for coming on. Hi. Thank you. So let's start with you, Dawn. Can you tell us a little bit about that Math Expressions program?
The thing I like the best about the Math Expressions program is that it takes a simple concept in math that we're introducing to the 4th graders and shows it to them in a variety of different ways. And what's great about that is for students who might be struggling with the concept, they can choose from those different methods and pick the one that works best for them. And for kids who are a little bit more comfortable with those concepts, they can see all the different ways of doing it and experiment with them and learn different ways of doing it.
Good. And what about you, Sarah?
Another great thing that the Math Expressions program does is many times not only does it ask them for a numeric answer, but it also asks them to explain the hows and whys they did things. So it really forces them to understand the concepts at a much deeper level.
And we've been using our Math Expressions program from kindergarten through 5th grade for the last 5 years. And next year we're going to be transitioning to the Common Core edition of Math Expressions. Sarah, how are you able to integrate technology into the math instruction?
One of my favorite parts about the program is the online website Think Central. So every day when I start my math instruction, I'm able to pull up the page that we're going to be working on and project it right onto my whiteboard. So it gives us all a common place for our learning to happen from, and it makes it concrete for them. We can model strategies right on the board and have kids come up, and it just makes it that much more interactive for them.
Great. Don, what other technology is being used?
Well, this year the district implemented benchmark testing in the elementary schools so that using Study Island, we can get information about the specific skills that our kids are really comfortable with and the skills that they need to continue working on, and that can drive our instruction moving forward.
Okay, let's take a moment to visit Sarah and Don's class and see Math Expressions in action. Within the Chelmsford Public Schools, our kindergarten through 5th grade classes use the mathematics curriculum Math Expressions. Students in Miss Buckley's 4th grade class at Center School use student whiteboards and an interactive Eno board to support the curriculum and student learning of the Common Core state standards.
4th and 5th grade class, we're on the planning committee. Students, or D, none of the above. So go ahead and submit. So that 1,319 people could each have one slice. 164 pizzas, B. Three equal parts. What do you notice about the word equal? Ryan, what'd you notice?
This is Miss Mercedes' 4th grade class at Byam School. She is using a PowerPoint presentation and hands-on activities to support the Math Expressions curriculum. This best practice helps students gain conceptual understanding of the mathematical standards.
I have 1A. Keep reading. Who has, I think it's 112. Excellent. 4 equal size. Congruent. What's congruent?
Welcome back. That was a great look at these two teachers and all of our elementary teachers' great math instruction. Dawn, tell me please, how are you able to reach all the different learners in the classroom?
Well, another great thing about the Math Expressions program is that it has different methods of differentiation built right into it. And we have a whole box full of activity cards for each lesson. So in any given lesson, if we have kids who are working in a small group, the rest of the class can be working on some of these activities, and they're leveled based on whether they need reinforcement of a skill that we've already worked on, whether they're right at grade level, or whether they need a little bit of enrichment.
Excellent. Sarah, what about you?
Dawn already talked a little bit about Study Island, but that's another great program that is able to let us reach all of our learners. So it takes our Common Core standards and it lets students access them at their own pace. For kids who are really getting things, they can move through it very quickly. For kids who are maybe struggling, they have this thing called building blocks. So it's able to help fill in what they need before they can move on and get the curriculum at their grade level.
Great. Sarah, what advice do you have for incoming 4th graders to help them be more prepared for 4th grade math?
You have to know your facts. Everything we do in 4th grade depends on you knowing your facts, whether it's double-digit multiplication, long division, fractions. You have to know your math facts.
Dawn, what about you?
Know your math facts.
Yeah, excellent. Welcome back. Thanks for watching our Best of Math with Matthew Season 1, looking back at our high school, middle school, and elementary classes, and some of the fun things that we do also. We're getting ready for Season 2 of Math with Matthew, and we look forward to having you watch it starting this fall. Thanks.
All you need is math. All you need is math. All you need is math. Math. Math is all you need.